Happy Saturday to all of you all there tuning in. The pulse, the collective, what's really going on in the world. Crazy times we're living in. Everybody's feeling anxious, unsettled. This need to get out, to connect, because we're missing something. I actually notice what's going on around me without even having to step out the front door. And I check in with myself first because I know it's also churning up something within myself. We're all connected. Nobody's unaffected. Because the truth is each and every one of us feels one another no matter where you are in the world or in the universe. That is the real premise behind the oneness, the connectivity, the collective, the hive mind. That when you are experiencing something, everybody's experiencing it. That we contribute to whatever's going on in the world, that we're not immune, and that it isn't a us versus them, but it's us, period. That I am that too. That which I want to deny in another is something I deny in myself. That which I see and admire in another is also within us. We can aspire and want to be just like someone else, but who's to say we aren't already like that we aren't already there? That's the limited mindset. That's our strict dogmatic belief systems, that we can't possibly be that out there. But we're contributing to that as well. That's a part of us. We're a part of it. There's so many things you can find wrong with the world, but there's so many things you can find right as well. Would you rather be a part of the problem or be a part of the solution? Every chance you get, every moment, is an opportunity for you to tap into, whether you're uplifting, you're contributing, or you're demoting and degenerating in yourself and in the world. We need to be more accountable for our energy and what we bring to the table when we're around others, when we're by ourselves. That the whole purpose and premise behind meditation, mindfulness practices, breath work, yoga, slowing down, is to get in here, to sit with this stuff up in our heads, to really tap into what is behind the why we do what we do. And when we are so caught up in our own minds that we're not actually actively present with them, we don't even see how it's being presented to us, that we are either the slaves to our mind or the masters of it. Every time we see something come at us, we get to choose how we will either respond or react to the situation. We are only victims to our own doings, our own believings, our own seeings and hearings. It's all inside of us. It's outside of us too, but it starts inside. And when we go back to the root, which is everything unconscious, subconscious, and even conscious, that when we can sit with and be in awareness of what's going on up in here, then we can also recognize how it affects everything around us and how we contribute to what's going on around the world. Years ago, there was a documentary show that I watched called Kaimatica. And I appreciated it because it's the hard truth. It's the conversation most people don't want to have. Nobody wants to be told they're part of the problem. Most people will deny it because there's this protective ego that says, that's not me. But guess what? It is. Even if you don't want to believe it, doesn't make it untrue. We're all contributing to the mixing pot of life. All the colors of the rainbow, all the spectrums, the light, the vibration, the energy, It's all one. It's not separate. Just because you see something outside of you and it doesn't seem to belong to you, or that it has a different form than you, doesn't make it any less a part of you. Energy is amazing because it's felt before it's seen. Energy enters into your presence long before you tangibly can touch it, taste it, see it, hear it, smell it. You have a spidey sense. You have an intuition. You sense when something's about to happen even beforehand. And even you cannot deny it. Yet we don't need science to prove it, do we? You have the gut response. You have a sensation. You know, I felt something. I should or shouldn't have done such and such because I had a feeling it wasn't going to go the way I wanted it to. We always have a choice of whether or not we're going to show up to a situation or we're going to listen and heed that inner knowing, your intuition, the into me I see. We are sentient beings, sensitive with sensibilities. You know, words, they cast spells. Words have power, they have meaning, they have vibration, they have energy. Choose your words wisely. Notice how they start up in your head, because all the stuff that goes on up in here is what comes out of here, is exhibited all over your body. You can't hide it. You can think. Your mind will tell you. It's so clever, it will come up with a story. It will deny all that doesn't align with what you want it to be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist in your beingness. It does exist. And people feel your energy beyond what you say, what will even exhibit. You know, when a person walks into the room, everybody knows. They're like, wow, their presence. It shows, you feel it. And oftentimes you've probably felt someone come up behind you and they were so strong in their presence that you had to turn around and look. You can't deny energy. Energy doesn't lie. And truth is felt. It's not something that is known like, oh, somebody told me the truth. No, you felt it when they told it. You felt it as they told it. You even felt it if they didn't say a word. Trust that. Tap into that. That's your spidey sense. We take in data and information through our senses. And again, like I said, you will receive information long before it is in physical form. Have you ever gotten ready to go on a trip, or maybe to a workshop or a powerful seminar or event? And as you led up to that point, the going, you either had trepidation or excitement, or maybe you had the whole gamut of all the emotions and the feelings. Because that's what happens. The ego senses something new is coming in. So the ego starts to sidestep and backstep and like, ooh, I don't know, maybe I don't need to go to this. It senses changes on the atmosphere. It's sensing that something unfamiliar and unknown is coming. And the ego is there to protect you. The ego is there to, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. It's supposed to be on the watch for you, looking out, protection. But the ego doesn't always do such a good job. Sometimes it's just like, I don't want to do what I don't know. And that's where it can trip you up. But when you tap into your heart and soul, you have a knowing that supersedes this head that gets in the way. Because the true nature of the heart is to lead you in the direction of your soul's path. And the heart will never lead you astray. It's the head that gets in the way. And the only reason the head gets in the way is because it thinks it needs to think and create stories either to protect you or to stay alive. The ego doesn't want to be dissolved, doesn't want to be left behind. So you have to give it tasks. You have to give it a job to do. That's where this meditation and this awareness of how do you operate from this space? Do you let it run amok and do whatever? Are you the victim of it? Or are you the master? Do you step in and go, no, that's untrue? Do you challenge it? It's the only way you evolve and grow is through challenging your own beliefs, because those are your biggest addictions. We will defend our beliefs, and that's what leads to war, isn't it? That's what leads to divide and conquer, is that when you are at war in your own head, and it's a challenge to your own belief system, and your body doesn't even align with it, isn't it ironic that your ego will go to war to defend itself against another, separate, divide, and conquer? If you're unwilling to challenge your own mind, you will be constantly challenged in life. People will always show up to poke and provoke you until you yourself are willing to challenge what you think is the truth. Again, tap into your body's wisdom. Your body will tell you if it's the truth or not. And if it doesn't align, you will have dis-ease and discomfort that arise in the physical body because it's a reflection of what's not in alignment with it. That your mind is saying something untrue. That your mind is attached and glued and stuck in these spaces of, I need to be right. It's not about being happy. It's about exercising that proof that I am right, which doesn't necessarily lead to happiness now, does it? Power, we all have it. It's innately within us. It's up to you to choose if you're going to give that away or you're going to step into it and allow yourself to be guided, propelled, sensed into trusting your feelings, trusting your knowing. Again, when you get good with your mind and you know your own patterns, that's when you can change them. But if you don't even know and you're ignoring them, ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is what causes problems, because you can only ignore something for so long and it will keep coming at you until you confront it. That's what life is. Confrontation. It's challenge. It's how are you going to meet the situation? Are you going to fight it, exhaust yourself? Or are you going to, flow with it? How can I move around with it? How can I work with this? Adaptability, flexibility, fluidity. It's the dance of life. And the life is a dance. It is a game. It is a play. It is a theater. We are all actors in this game. And what is the role that you play? Are you someone out here looking for problems or going for the solutions? Creating new. The old wasn't working. Who wants to go back to the broken ways that were just reinforcing misery? And we all know misery loves company. If you are stuck in your misery and you're not owning that, you are just becoming the victim of your own. You choose to be miserable, but if you don't choose to own your choosing of that, you're doing yourself a disservice and disempowering yourself at the same time. There's a lot of miserable people in the world right now, and they are flinging their shit all around at people. Why? Because misery loves company. And they would rather have someone who's at the same level than try to move up and work their way to somebody who's in a happier vibration and energy. But if you are strong enough in your knowing, your happiness, your joy, there isn't anything that can take you out of that without your permission. There are plenty of people out there sinking, wallowing in their misery, that they want someone to jump in and join them, as opposed to, if you throw them the life preserver, they're not necessarily going to take it. They're going to want you to join them instead of them join you. Everything's a choice. Everything's a choosing. Are you going to waste your time and energy on people who are not in alignment, who are unwilling to change, who, again, want to drag you down to their level and beat you with their miserable experience? And they'll tell you all their stories because that's what they do. They'll tell this one and that one. They'll tell the same story over and over again. And just like anything, that the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Oh, woe is me. I can't imagine. I can't figure out. Why is it always happening to me? Why am I experiencing this? Yet you've told that story how many times to how many people? And you're wondering why you're reliving it? Because every time you tell the story, you're recreating it. You're giving it more power, more strength. You're drawing more of that to you. It's the same thing as gratitude. You're complaining, yet you don't realize that you are blessing that situation so much with all of your complaining, you're giving it more power and energy to recreate it every time. So why not flip the switch and move over to what you're grateful for, what you want more of? Otherwise, you're just going to stay stuck. And others around you are going to get sick of it. You'll eventually get sick of your own complaining, because I know I did at one point in my life when I finally was like, you know what, this stuff's got to stop. I don't even like hearing myself complain, because I personally am a very happy person. I dislike hearing myself complain about something that I'm like, oh my gosh, how many times have I said that? There's a certain point where you realize I've got to make the change because I'm the only one who has control over my circumstances. And so if I am complaining about something consistently, all I'm doing is creating more of my own misery. And life's too short to be stuck and wallowing and drowning in what we dislike. If you disliked it so much, why are you still talking about it? It's because you're giving it power and you're acting like a victim. Unfortunately, this is what's being nurtured and cultivated. Cult comes from the word culture. Yeah, cult comes from the word culture. Words cast spells. And we're all living in a crazy cult right now. And the insane are the ones running the show. Haven't you figured that out? It's really crazy to think that we entrust people because we falsely idolize the money that they have and thinking that they know better because they have all this money. That's a false idolship. That is a worshiping of money. When you think somebody is more powerful just because they have the money, so they must be more knowledgeable than you. That's such a lie. And you need to step back and realize that we all have life experience. We can connect the dots. You can do your own research and you will learn a whole lot more than listening and blindly following somebody just because you idolize them, you worship them. Nobody should be worshiping or idolizing another person to begin with. You are your own inner guru. Coaches, mentors. Yes, we need guidance sometimes. And you get to select and you get to choose who you listen to and who you don't. That is the power that you wield, and each and every one of us wields. At what point are we going to wake up to the fact that we've got a lot of crazy, insane people, psychopaths, trying to exercise a whole lot of control over our sovereignty? I'm sorry, but you shouldn't have to flag an exemption, or because of you have to prove why you choose not to do something. Like from the moment we're born, you have to prove yourself. You have to prove yourself not guilty because people will accuse you. You have to prove yourself worthy of all sorts of things in this life, like love. Nobody has to prove themselves worthy of love. That's absurdity in itself. Nobody has to prove themselves to anybody. Yet that is the culture we have been raised in, conditioned, that all these beliefs that even we attach to, hardheads, they're not even our stories. Most of the beliefs that we have are just passed on. They were programmed into us. through broadcasts, through television, through actors casting spells with those words. Hollywood, magic. Again, do your research. In life, you should not have to prove or explain yourself to anybody who comes at you telling you what you should do. Don't let people shit on you. Don't shit on yourself. You have freedom to choose. That is your inalienable, God-given right on this planet. And the fact that anybody should have to say, well, I can or can't do something based on this, I need proof. I was thinking about that because that just makes no sense to me. I'm not going to talk about all this craziness going on in the world because I don't want to give it my energy. But the thing is though, we don't want to nurture this victimhood mentality. We're being told we have to do something against our will. Critical reasoning tells me that doesn't make any sense. Why? Who gets to benefit? You're going to tell me it's for my own good, like as if I'm a child and I can't make my own health choices or my own life choices? I find it offensive that anybody, including myself, would ever consider allowing someone to tell me, what to do. And then you get to pay for it too. Not just once, because all of our money goes towards it. We didn't have a choice in most of it. These are crazy times. And when you step back, just get out of the matrix of this mentality of like, wow, I've been going along with this for how much time of my life? I'm not that old. I'm only 46. I'll be 47 this summer, and it does not feel, doesn't feel like it. But from the time I was young, I was one of the fortunate ones. I still remember rotary telephones. I still remember going out and playing outside. I remember only having 4 channels on a television that used to have to move the antennas to get a good signal because we lived in the country. UHF and VHF. Crazy stuff. That I remember when computers were first introduced. And I immediately, because that's my background, which tells me I'm an architect on another level. And I know that when I incarnated into this life, I knew a whole lot more coming in. And that when I was a child, there were things I couldn't explain. And my mother didn't try to beat that out of me. She didn't try to tell me I was wrong. Yes, and playing with marbles and hopscotch and climbing trees and building tree houses. Like I was very fortunate. I had a childhood. My sisters and I got to play outside. We had chickens. We had a pony. We had a cow and a bull. We were fortunate because our parents knew that the crime was getting bad in Massachusetts. We moved out of Boston. We moved to the country. We got to enjoy life. Yes, some of our childhood was stolen from us. Bad things happen. But every experience that I know that I've ever had in my life has given me the information, the knowledge, and the awareness that I've been able to integrate it into wisdom. That I grew up in libraries. I was taught to look words up in the dictionary, to look things up, to research, to question. Boy, are we living in crazy times when you just questioning things is like taboo. That should raise a flag for each and every person out there. That if you can't even speak and ask a question because you're afraid to offend somebody, or someone will defend the fact that you shouldn't even ask the question, I'm telling you right now, when you silence one, you silence all. If you believe that people should be silenced, then wait until they come to silence you. Because everybody is at stake and nobody is being left behind. not in the way you think. I just wanted to share this because I really feel it's imperative that people start taking personal responsibility and being accountable for your energy, what you bring to the table, how you are at home with yourself, how you are with your friends. Are you a negative Nancy or are you a positive Pollyanna? Because those are extremes in themselves. Or are you in like a neutral knowing when you are centered and grounded and in your personal power, sovereignty, your spidey senses are engaged, you're all systems a go, sensitivity, because when you know, and you don't need someone to tell you. Truth is something that's only felt, and only you know your truth. If something misaligns, sit with that and tap into it. And notice where you feel it in your physical body, because wherever you feel it in your body is telling you where it's stuck in your mind. And you can honestly listen and receive, because that's what meditation is. Prayer is asking and meditation is listening. You can put a prayer out to the universe, you can pose a question, and you can receive the answer if you are patient enough and willing to sit and listen. Listen to what drops in. And learn to discern between your ego and your intuitive drop-ins, your knowings. You can cultivate your intuition. You can increase your psychic awareness and capability to see through things, to know things that you don't need proof of. You don't even need to do research if you tap that much into your own self. I'm doing an 11-week Women in Wellness course. It'll be once a week for 2 to 3 hours at a minimum. If that interests you, send me a message, because this is going to be a powerful way to re-engage and come back into your knowing that women holding women, the sacredness of circle. It's an online retreat. We'll have a private Facebook group, and we'll meet each week with a theme to work on. It will be tailored to the women that are in the group. I may go a little longer than 11 weeks, but we're going to see how it unfolds, because I want to be able to hold that space and nurture the knowing within each person, setting the intention of what it is you want to improve upon in your life. And we hold each other accountable with love, with patience and compassion, because that's what life is about, as humans in unity. To make humanity better, we have to work on ourselves first. We can't expect the outside world to change and to work for us if we're not working on us first. The changes we make in ourselves affect everyone and everything on the planet around us. It's up to you, it's up to me, it's up to all of us. Make a commitment to yourself and join me for 11 weeks. Send me a message. I hope you all have a wonderful, amazing, beautiful Saturday. I'm going to go jump on the bike now and meet up with a girlfriend at the beach, because I live in Sunshine State. Lots of love. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I love you.